Hello and welcome along to the start of another new season from this FM20 Dorking Wanderers story with me, Daniel. It's season 17, episode 1, and today we're back for the first game of the season as well as our usual transfer special. Now, the reason we're playing our first game against Reading in the Premier League is because we've not done a great deal of business. As the title suggests, there has been some trouble, there has been some frustration. The bits of business we have done have been brilliant. However, we've not quite managed to do enough. So there are a few good bits of news and we will get to those. And then unfortunately, the overriding frustration and emotion will get to us as we go into the Reading match. And as long as we get a good performance on the pitch, I'm sure that will dwindle quickly. But the bank balance looks great. There's one positive of not getting a deal across the line. On deadline day, we made a big decision to sell someone because we thought it would give us a chance of getting a big name in, and then we didn't quite get that deal done. So unfortunately, for the first half of the season, we are one man down. We've managed to improve our defence again, but the attack, I'm afraid, is still leaving a little bit to be desired. So if you are looking forward to the new season, the transfers and the first game of the Premier League season, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. On paper, we've got a pretty friendly start to the season. So after this one, we'll be back for our Europa League debut. So if you want to make sure you don't miss that, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily content releases on the channel. This series is back on Friday after today, and that will be the full Europa League debut after we won the Europa Conference last year. In the meantime, we've got the head coach, of course, tomorrow. The Mccrory save continues at the weekend, and our weekly live streams continued yesterday morning. So thank you to everyone who did come along, and if you weren't able to, you can catch up with the series and the replays in the eye above. But let's go and get into the transfer business with Dorking. A big summer here at the football club, trying to take our next step from 5th to competing for the top 4. In truth, I'm not sure we've done that, but I'm hoping that this season can be the first of 2 steps. I feel like, given a year for experience for a couple of the younger ones, we have got the defence we now want long term. We've managed to tie down Afonso and Mazzino to new deals, but we haven't yet been able to improve the attacking areas. So that front 4 still a little bit weaker, and some of them still a bit unhappy. But let's start with the one bit of business we are still trying to do, and that is Ben Barrett on his way to Hibernian. So we have signed a new keeper to be back up to Afonso, and Barrett has now dropped down to 4th choice. So we're trying to sell him. He's 31, and Hibs have put in a good offer. We of course beat them in the Europa Conference final, and we'll be happy for him to go there as backup. He's 2-star ability now, he's 31 years of age, and to get the money off the wage bill would be much appreciated. He's been a good servant, always been a backup generally, but he's going to be a good player for Hibs, and I'm sure he'll be a solid backup there. So here's the one that could be going next, but let's have a look at what we've done as the transfer window for Inns has slammed shut. Just 2 players signed, 1 familiar and 1 a goalkeeper. Let's take a look at them. There we go then. We normally start with the outs, but that would be foolish today. The first in that was pre-agreed, I mentioned it in the end of year review and for the Europa Conference final. We were already well on course for doing this deal. For £58 million, Mitchell Baker joins from Arsenal. He is a brilliant centre-half, has got years of experience here, had 2 seasons at Arsenal and is now back with us. So nearly 150 league games for the club. He's exceptional physically and mentally. He's decent technically, but the main thing for us is we wanted to play that higher defensive line, go to a positive mentality and get further up the pitch. And having that sort of physical centre-half at the club allows us to do so. We already know Semedo is very strong physically. Mertens was a little behind. So for us, having Baker and Semedo means that we can do that. So I really think this could be a big change because it's allowing us to push further forward. And if our attacking players maybe aren't quite as good as the top 4, the fact that they'll then get more chances to create, more chances to score goals, hopefully that then bodes well. But Mitchell Baker, in on the top wages, 120 grand, just 10 a week off the top earner at the club. But what a player, he's well worth it. He's England's first choice centre-half, and he will be Dorking Wanderers' first choice as well. So well worth the majority of the budget. We then spent £22 million to Corinthians on Leonardo Fabrizio. Ironically, the man they paid to sign instead of having Gabriel Afonso. He is going to come in as backup to Afonso. 20 years of age. He'll play the Europa League. He'll play the domestic cups. He's a wonder kid. He's got 2.5-star ability and that magic 5-star potential. So as I mentioned, we've got Afonso down to a new deal. But there's still clubs sniffing around him at times. So even though at the moment we should get away with it this summer, Next summer, who knows? We might be able to sell him on, and it might allow us to buy 2 brilliant attacking players, because I fancy Leonardo Fabrizio to get up to that standard, and we'll wait and see if I'm right on that front. So only the 2 signings, but 2 massive players, and one in particular that will solidify our back 4 and completely change the way we play just because of his more physical nature. But what that has of course meant is a few have gone out. I mentioned the deadline day one, which of course will be the topic of controversy, but let's go through the rest quickly first. So firstly, 2 young players gone to Fleetwood on loan. We helped them out last year, they got promoted to the National League, and now we've sent them Julian Consalves, a young winger, and Mark McNamara, a young central midfielder. He probably looks the better of the 2. Then John Wagstaff went on loan to Newport, another one who had the chance to go to Fleetwood, but unfortunately rejected them. Ryan Castor Hartlepool, another player going down to the lower leagues. And then 3 players who were sold from the club. So let's start with the lower one, Neil Robinson. 375,000 to Leeds, plus 50% of his sell-on. An unambitious personality, but a 17-year-old from the youth academy. I felt like he wasn't ever going to make it, and his scout summary suggests that. But I wanted to give him the chance, and I wanted to give Dorking a chance to produce professionals. So he did it with 3 or 4 the year before, and Neil Robinson is the latest one on that production line. So he's off to Leeds, looks like he'll be going out on loan, and hopefully he'll be able to pave the way for a professional career for himself. And then we've got the 2 big ones. Arnau Murillo has gone to Bayer Leverkusen, a club that we managed in the winter series of course, and one we came up against in the head coach with Gladbach. We signed him in January for 1.7 million, made 1 appearance as a backup, we've sold him for 4 times the amount. I think that's pretty good business in my eyes. So a really solid player. It's a shame we couldn't fit him in the squad, but we've got the homegrown rule-ins and we've got all the others as well, and with Roger Solly coming through as a wonder kid, we couldn't hold him back for Murillo. So off he goes for 4 times the amount we signed him for, and I'm delighted with that bit of work by the club. And then comes the big one, Jason Mccrory. Now this is controversial. On deadline day we got a big offer. It's a position where in Mazzino we have an unflappable world-class left-back. Behind him we have Sam Williams, a youngster at the club with 4-star potential and pretty good ability already. Jason Mccrory was no doubt second choice. He is no doubt a wonder kid. But for £40 million, when we signed him last summer for 12, he was injured more often than he played, to be honest. Do I think that's a good deal? I'm pretty sure it is. He can only play in one position. He did have troubles with injuries, and I don't see that he's going to be a superstar for us. So he's going to go over to Tottenham. He's gone for £40 million in guaranteed money and 50% sell-on clause, not of a profit, of his next sale entirely. So as soon as that becomes available, hopefully it will be 10, 15, 20 million pound. And we're talking over 50 million for a 19-year-old that was probably going to be back up for the rest of the series. With Sam Williams not far behind him, it just seemed like a sensible move. So that one's done, and it does mean if we get the likes of an Ariane Sink, as we did last January, for 52 million, or Stokic as a young player who we need to get in, we can do it. We've got that flexibility in the budget. So £70 million remaining, a little bit off for wages, but generally that's about what's left. And I've got a sneaky suspicion that we might be signing a big one in the winter. However, as it stands for now, we go into the Reading game with just 2 signings. What that does mean, with the only first teamer being a regular at the club before, is we should be fairly solid. We should have good team cohesion, and it is very good. We've got a very good dressing room atmosphere and an excellent managerial support. Jeff Coppen's unhappy he couldn't join PSG, but they only offered 40 odd million altogether, and that's not enough. And combined with the fact we couldn't get another striker in, Jeff Coppens is going to get another year at the club. Now we did talk about this as we go into the Reading game, about what we'd have with more attacking tactics, with better players going forward. Now while we don't have that in the attacking sense, the attacking midfield 3 is still the same. In fact, all of the front 6 is. However, at the wing-back area, with Correa coming in, and with Mazzino at left-back, we've now gone to the wing-backs, as you've seen with Barcelona, with Chelsea, with Gladbach even, back in the head coach. We've done it with Burnley a little bit as well, that in our live stream series, and we know that it gives us more attacking impetus. The same for Baker and Semedo at centre-half. They're now ball-playing defenders on a cover duty, so they're going to play out from the back, they're going to naturally come out with possession, and they're going to try and pick out Morale in the middle. And he is going to be the linchpin for the side, just as he was last year. The attacking midfield 3, still the same players, still the same duties. However, we have made some changes to our tactical style. Firstly, a positive mentality. Secondly, if we go over to the out of possession, a higher line of engagement, a higher defensive line. This should enable us to win the ball higher up the pitch, allow our attacking players to be closer to the goal. They don't need to create too many things. It's just about getting the ball in, delivering for Coppens and letting him produce some magic. So I'm hoping that will have a positive impact on this man. However, I don't know that we're going to find out while he's having a strop. But we will wait and see as we get into it today. Only the one change to the squad as always. It is Gabriel Afonso in goal. Mazzino and Correa the fullbacks. Correa and Pollock have just switched this year. Correa now listed as a wonder kid too. We've got Baker coming in at centre half alongside Semedo. Two brilliant, quick, agile central defenders who are going to be real crucial to that attacking defensive line. Baltas and Morale in central midfield. A solid combination last year. Hopefully no penalties in cup finals conceded for Baltas this season. Then Lima, Ensink and Stokic in the attacking midfield positions with Jeff Coppens up front. And game changers are plenty on the bench. Council, Davey, McLaughlin, Carl Boyce and then Mertens, who was last season's first choice centre half. Pollock, who was last season's first choice right back. I feel like the strength in depth's getting there. A lot of youngsters at the club. Sam Williams, the left back, now 2.5-star ability. Roger Solly, officially listed as a wonder kid. They will play in the Europa League and the Cups. So let's get into the first game against Reading and hope that any of our optimism isn't pushed away. We want to get a result here and we want the tactic to be pretty convincing. First game of the season for Dorking. Let me know what you think of the tactical changes. A Reading side that have become ever present in the Premier League now. Let me just go and have a quick check how many years in a row they've been there. They have been in the Premier League for 5 successive seasons. So this is their 6th. They've never finished below 14th, which they did last year. But that in a pretty tight mid-table. So let's ask the lads to do it for the fans. Semedo stressed, but look at Mitchell Baker right behind us already. We've got faith in Semedo, who's now relaxed. And in the first half, we want to push forward a bit here. Can we get on the front foot against Reading? And can we get off to a strong start in the Premier League? The top 4 chase is on, but at the very least, we need Europa League football again. And it's a goal kick for Gabriel Afonso, who clears long downfield. He'll be chased by Harry Ensink. Loses out, but it falls for Baltas. He's got 2 on the right, 1 on the left. Baltas inside to Ensink. Finds Ryan Lima. Oh, good effort from Lima. Just over the bar, but it had the keeper worried. And it's a strong start from Dorking. And again, winning the ball in the opposition's half. As we have there from the goal kick. And Lima looks like a different player in this. Into the box, beats 2. Back to Harry Ensink. And the number 10 has put it in the bottom corner. Harry Ensink gives us the lead. And I'm starting to get optimistic. 2 attacks, 2 highlights in 10 minutes. And both of them from winning the ball high up the pitch. And we've now got to throw it right back with Correa. Plays a 1-2 with Ryan Lima. Hopefully Correa can settle in this season. And we've just got to hope Pollock doesn't get too disheartened. But Correa's given it away. Semedo nicks it from the through ball though. Spares his blushes and finds Stokic. Lovely through ball for Jeff Coppens. In 1-on-1. And it's tipped away by the keeper. And hacked away desperately by the defender. Really good start to the game from Dorking. Jeff Coppens just needs that early goal. As Morale delivers the corner. It's a poor one by his standards. And unfortunately, very easy for Koulibaly. 1-0 Dorking after 15 and a brilliant performance so far from the boys. Well, half-time reached. It calmed down a little bit towards the end of that half and Reading did have a couple of chances off camera. We didn't see the highlights, which suggests that we didn't concede too many brilliant chances. However, we're dominating the game, we're 1-0 up. Harry Ensink scored, Ryan Lima assisted. There's not much to be too negative about there. So Nick Haycock wants to do it for the fans. Who are we to argue? He's been right for many a year and he'll continue to be so. Into the second half we go and we just need to do the same again really. And again we're back with a Gabriel Afonso goal kick which Stokic picks up on the left and then concedes possession. But Baltas wins it for Ensink, again on the halfway line. And now we can charge forward with Stokic. Coppens is in the middle but it falls for Morale. Baltas shoots and it's just wide of the post. He probably should have laid Lima in there. But we're not going to complain, it's been a good performance. Though we have got a set piece to defend. Tenev in is straight at Afonso. We'll take that all day. And Afonso's got time to pick his man. He goes for a big long clearance towards Coppens. Gets there first, brilliant touch. Beats the defender. And Koulibaly makes another brilliant save. Coppens delivers again though. And Lima's header into the keeper's arms. Jeff Coppens just needs that goal now because his work rate and his touches have been excellent. We've demanded a bit more, just want to make sure these lads keep in it, as the goal kick from Afonso finds Stokic. Sorry, a free kick from the wide right in his own defensive area. Finds Baltas to Lima, edge of the box, beats the man, into it alone, good effort, great save. This goalkeeper has been exceptional. I've got to go and see what his rating is. He's the best in the whole pitch for the Reading team. And he is a very good stopper. 110 grand a week, 149 caps for the Ivory Coast. That's some keeper that, as Morale delivers his corner, out towards Baker. He'll bring it back down, switches the play, but the highlight ends and we don't get to see the second wave of attacks. 15 minutes left, let's make some changes. Stokic is going to be replaced on that left-hand side. He's just struggled a little bit with nerves and he's not had the best game. Not really been too involved in it so far. So it'll be Zach Council on as an inside forward on support. We've done this before. Jeff Coppens will be replaced up front. Ewan Davey, in him we know we've got a goal scorer off the bench. And then we'll leave the last one for another 5 or 10. It'll probably be Pollock for Correa, to be honest. I just want to get experience on the pitch and keep things as tight as possible. So with 10 to go, that's exactly what we're going to do. Kieran Pollock on and 10 minutes to hold on. It would be a crime if we lost this. I know it's only one and we've got to keep worried and keep wary. But as Ryan Lima shoots at the keeper, it's another example of how dominant we've been. As Koulibaly, the keeper, will clear it long. He goes downfield down the middle and Semedo's up for the challenge, as is Pollock. But it's flicked on for Healy and it's a great save by Afonso. And that's what a world-class keeper's for. So we're going to drop to balance now. We're just going to drop that defensive line too because it caught us out there. In transition, we'll slow it down. In possession, we'll time waste and we'll drop our tempo very slightly. We just want to make sure we hold on here. A 1-0 win would be thoroughly acceptable on this day, as Afonso claims the corner well, and it looks like we're on course to achieve that. 3 minutes of stoppage time played, and the final whistle goes. A thoroughly deserved victory at a tough place to go. Reading start their 6th Premier League season with a defeat at home to Dorking, an assist for Lima, a goal for Ariensink, and a solid display across the board. No surprise to see that Morgan Morale is man of the match, of course spraying it across the pitch all day, as he so often does. But a fantastic moment for us. The PSG boss is Julian Nagelsmann and he's watching Jeff Coppens again. We want to make sure that he doesn't try and distract him and take him elsewhere. So if we go through the press conference very quickly, Morgan Morale was brilliant. I'm sure Jeff Coppens will have better days. Just needs to get his mind back on Dorking because he can reach the top of football here. So we start the season with a fantastic victory. Let's just go ahead to the end of the weekend to see if there's any shocks. And then we'll have a look at when we're next going to be back. Everyone has completed their first Premier League fixture. If we have a look at the big boys, City lost away at Tottenham. Arsenal lost by 2. I'm not sure who that was against. Let's go and have a look. So Brentford beat Watford. We don't really worry about that. Wolves held Liverpool. And then Arsenal lost to Everton. So a decent side. But Chelsea, Spurs, Manchester United all got their victories. Liverpool got a point on the board. There's not too many bad results there for us. We're quite happy with how things are going. And we just want to try and get a bit closer to that top 4. We have also sold Ben Barrett since the last fixture, £700,000, and we're only paying a couple of grand a week of his wages. So we wish him all the best at Hibernian. We've also received £1,500 for Ollie Robinson, who's moved on from QPR to Queen of the South. He was our keeper many, many years ago, 2 seasons back when we got promoted from League One to the Championship. And he is a decent keeper, who's now an experienced one at 30 years of age. Made a decent career for himself though, so you've got to be fair on that front. However, we need to look at when we're next going to be back. After a successful start to the Premier League season, we've got 4 more relatively friendly games on paper. Brighton away probably the toughest after the international break, and on Friday night it doesn't help us at all. But the next game we're back for will be our Europa League debut. We had European football for the first time last year, and we went all the way in the Europa Conference, winning our first major trophy at the club. And this season, remarkably, the board expect us to do the same in the Europa League. The minimum expectation is that we win it, as well as qualifying via the league. So how on earth we're going to do that, I don't know, because there are some brilliant sides in this competition. But we will be back for our first group stage game. We'll have a look at the 3 teams we're up against, and fingers crossed we'll be able to start well there as well. We will hope to go on a run in one of the cups as well. 2 final defeats last season as we still search for our first domestic trophy. But we'll be back on the 20th of September, and I hope you'll join me on Friday to see how we get on. So if you did enjoy this one, a good start to the Premier League season, the return of Mitchell Baker, and a couple of big controversial sales as well, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the 2 signings, what you thought of us letting Mccrory go for 40 million, and do you think our new attacking tactic will work once the boys get used to it, once Coppens ends his drop? I've got a feeling it could be pretty special. But we'll wait and see on that front. It still has a lot of time to go wrong. and the European group stages could force our hand a little. But if you haven't already and you want to stay up to date, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily content releases on the channel from this series, The Head Coach, which is back tomorrow, and our weekend save with Macclesfield. We've got one more new series planned for once The Head Coach finishes that will take us through to FM21. And of course we'll continue our weekly live streams every Tuesday morning at 10 AM. So if you are free to pop along, it'd be great to see you there, and it's lovely to interact and chat live with you. Finally, I'm part of a podcast that does matchday vlogs, interviews, prediction shows and topical podcasts too. You can see that channel in the eye above. We're growing really quickly at the moment and I've noticed a few of you going over. So thank you so much for your incredible support. And a big thanks for watching this one into another big season as we try and get flying with Dorking Wanderers. Hopefully Europa League success to come and maybe even a first domestic trophy. I'll see you on Friday for the next one.